Once African Americans learned to read and interpret the Bible for themselves, they saw the fallacies in the Christian clergy and the U.S. government's argument that all men are created free. One of the great challenges with faith among African Americans is the view, by some as it still exists today, that Christianity is the white man's religion. Some believe that Christianity was and is the religion of the oppressors, the religion of those who sit in the Hippocratic seat of power, in the American church, and in the government of the United States. Slavery was seen as a necessity for the survival of agricultural business in the South. Therefore, many opposed preaching to the slaves because they feared slaves would automatically be freed once they received the gospel. In order to maintain the status quo, Christian leaders and slave owners used passages from the Bible to teach slaves that God had divinely ordained them to be slaves. Many white evangelicals came to believe that the Bible supported slavery and that the so-called curse of Ham made Africans an inferior race. These white clergymen used such biblical passages to justify slavery, as Colossians 3:22, which says, "Slaves, obey your earthly masters in everything, and do it not only when their eye is on you, and to win their favor, but with sincerity of heart and reverence for the Lord." They use such structure as 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 18 through 20, from the New International Version of the Bible, which says, "Slaves, submit yourselves to your masters with all respect, not only to those who are good and considerate, but also to those who are harsh. For it is commendable if a man bears up under the pain of unjust suffering because he is conscious of God. But how is it to your credit if you receive a beating for doing wrong and endure it? But if you suffer for doing good and you endure it, this is commendable before God." Using scriptures such as these, white slave owners and others convinced several of the slaves that they would be disobeying God if they tried to free themselves. Slaves were taught that they would be rewarded in heaven if they would only submit and perform well as slaves, because this role had been given to them by God Himself. Many of the clergy even argued that Christianity made slaves behave better. Therefore, this slanted view of Bible verses became a popular and successful method of controlling slaves. This is one of the many reasons a great number of African Americans, some still today, rejected or take a weary eye to Christianity because they believed it to be a white man's religion.
Message of Christianity. There was something in the religion of the oppressors that they saw that was deeper than even the oppressor's presentation of that. I mean, for example, the slaves had this saying that there must be another Bible within that Bible.
Black people did not assume the Christianity of their oppressors. The Christianity that black people assumed was a Christianity that they created out of the interaction with the Christianity that was presented to them and the Christianity that they re-evaluated.
Charleston, South Carolina. In 1815, the enslaved black population outnumbered the free white population by more than 2 to 1. On Sunday mornings, black people listened quietly to pro-slavery sermons in the sanctuaries of the city's white churches. On the surface, the Africans seemed to accept these preachments without open confrontation. But on weeknights and Sunday evenings, it was a different story. During slavery, secret meetings served as a place where black women and men could worship God in the way that they saw fit. Their songs recalled stories from the Bible, triumphs of the weak over the mighty. Ceremonially, they traveled through time, casting themselves as God's chosen people of centuries past. At the heart of this experience was the ring shout, the sacred ritual in which worshipers shift their feet and move their bodies in a circle to symbolize the connection between past, present, and future. Over time, the meeting places came to be known as praise houses. The Praise House family functioned as the secret religious societies had in Africa. Members were initiated in after months of reporting their dreams and going into the woods at night to seek God. It was a bond that was as strong as the bonds of one's birth family.
These folk worked from sunup to sundown.